What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Hunt Fish Drive. Today I'm out on the lowland property that I was out in a couple videos ago. I did not satisfy my urge to look around there. I didn't have a lot of time that day, and I just figured it would be nice to get back out again and kind of check it over once more and maybe check a couple more spots and see what I can find. Also, today I'm kind of on a turkey scouting mission. I've got turkey season coming up soon, and I did check this field here on the property this morning, and there were two nice gobblers strutting in there. So that's a good sign. Gets me a little bit excited. I know I've got a little time yet before my season starts, almost a month, but I'm still excited about it nonetheless, and kind of want to keep an eye on, you know, where the turkeys are and what they're doing. Today I'll keep this short. I'm gonna head into the woods here and try to cover a couple more spots that I didn't get to last time. I know like I said, I barely scratched the surface last time, and I'd like to try to cover a little bit more of it. Since it's been a couple years since this has really been looked over and shed hunted, who knows what you might find in there. Maybe I'll find something else, but we'll go see. And also I'm gonna kind of treat it as a scouting mission as well. I haven't scouted this very well for quite some time, and deer patterns changed. Some of the neighboring properties changed, some were logged off. The things that were planted in, some of them changed. So it's always good to kind of check it over and get an idea of what the deer did this last year and what they're doing now, and then apply that to this upcoming season. So that being the case, let's get going in there and see what we can find. I figured I'd kind of explain my plan real quick as to how I'm going to approach this scouting and shed hunting today. And what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of skirting around the edge. There's an open swamp here. It's just swamp grass and nothing out in it. It's not real huge, but around the edge of it is some pretty good amount of young pines, white pines. And then there's a directly adjacent to that is, you know, like an oak stand that's been logged, but I can see a little bit better. There's some brush growing up, maples and things, but I can kind of stay a little bit on the edge of that swampy stuff, kind of use that as a funnel. They don't really cross it a whole lot. There's not much deer travel going right across it. They kind of skirt the edges and work those. So I'm using that to my advantage and kind of using that as a funnel and staying around the edge of this. And I'll see if I can find maybe something in here. I know last time I was here I found a shed antler and a deadhead, and both of them were kind of on the little bogs that were close to some really wet stuff. So I'm going to kind of keep that in mind and keep looking on these little humps and bogs and things and see if I can spot an antler in here. I'm also kind of looking for deer sign. I've noticed a little bit here. It's not crazy, but some decent runways going back and forth. So I'm going to keep those in mind as well for possible stand locations this fall. But I'm going to keep on moving now and show you what I find. I've gotten some comments recently about the lack of growth here, and it is kind of astonishing. It seems like the weather's been nice enough for a while that we would have gotten some green and some buds popping out. I notice it's just starting right now. On this farm I don't notice it as much as the others, maybe because it's a little lower and it probably stays cooler a little bit more. I noticed on the hillier property the buds are just popping out and some of the underbrush is starting to grow. But you can notice here that there is some green in the swamp grass that's starting to pop up, and I've noticed here and there in the moss I've been seeing kind of shoots of ferns and things like that coming up. So it's just a matter of time. I'm guessing within the next few days things will be probably thick enough where I won't be able to do any more shed hunting. So I'm kind of just trying to get these last little looks in before that happens, and see if I can, you know, find one last shed or deadhead before shed hunting season's completely done. Walking around in here again, I'm reminded as to why we didn't have a lot of success, I think, shed hunting before on this property. It's been a lot of years now since I've really looked it over, but it's hard. This is tough stuff to look in. It's quite thick, and this terrain is up and down, you know, bogs and wet, and there's not much for landmarks or areas to kind of funnel the deer down. You know, I mentioned that open swamp and stuff. They can go across there if they want to, whereas in the other ground, you know, there are certain places with fields and hills and ridges where you can kind of use the land to your advantage. Here it's kind of all just the same, so it makes it difficult, and I'm just kind of reminded of that again when I'm in here. It's kind of a tough prospect to find sheds, but I'm just going really slow today. I do have a bit of time this morning, and I'm gonna just take my time, look around as much as I can, and hopefully come up with something. One other thing I want to mention is I hope the audio's a little bit better this time. I noticed when I was editing the last couple videos, there were some issues with the grip I was using on the camera grip, and it seemed like it was making a couple popping noises and stuff, which I don't like. So I got a new grip, and hopefully that helps a little bit, and you guys can tell that the audio's at least not, it doesn't have that type of interference. All right, guys, let's keep on moving here. I was just looking at the size of this Magnum white pine behind me. I mean, that thing is huge. For around here anyways, that's one of the bigger ones I've seen. But there's a reason why it's right here. There's an old, I'll spin you around, there's an old house or barn foundation, I think a house here, and there's actually some remnants still over there of one of the buildings. Probably gives you an idea of how old this foundation was, because that's a pretty old tree. That thing is, I mean, that's huge. If I walk up there, it's, you know, twice as wide as I am, and it's pretty darn tall. Kind of cool. This is that brings me to a point here. This is kind of in a red pine plantation right next to this house foundation and that tree, and year after year we used to see, I mean, huge rubs in here. I'm talking you know, big trees, things you don't typically see, and we'd see them every year. This is maybe 15 years ago or so. See them every year, year after year, just big huge signpost rubs in here. And then this year I just kind of walked through it now, and I'm not really seeing that, and it's been a few years. So I don't know, it kind of just goes to illustrate that things change, you know, the deer change on the property, you know, just all those factors kind of lead up to changes like that. But I thought I'd kind of cruise through there again and see if I could find one of those Magnum rubs, and I just didn't see them. But I'm seeing a decent amount of deer sign. I'm just not finding antlers, so I'm gonna keep on looking and kind of work my way around different parts of the property and see what I can find, and just kind of spend some time and take it slow today. I'm enjoying being out. I'm just kind of adjacent to that old house foundation that I showed you, and there's a little bitty field, or it used to be a field. I think there's a disc, an old disc laying over there. But this would, to me, would be a perfect spot for a little micro plot. I mean, it'd be minimal work. There's a lot of weeds and a few trees and brush growing up now, but chainsaw and, you know, some rakes and maybe the ATV with a disc on, and this wouldn't be a bad micro plot. I've always considered that. The only problem is it's difficult to get to. It's kind of on the interior of the property. It's a long ways and a lot of wet stuff to get to it. So I think that would be a big obstacle for getting that food plot in here. Also, for hunting it, it would be difficult to get to. That you'd have to have a really nice trail, you know, several of them, depending on the wind, and to try to get in here. But I always looked at it. These little openings like this make really nice food plots if you can do it. I mean, it's much less work than clearing something, you know, out of the woods, and just seems like they work pretty well. Sun usually hits them good, but yeah, maybe someday this will, you know, we'll do something with it. I don't know. Like I said, there are a bunch of obstacles in getting it in first, but we'll see. But for now, the creek's right back here. I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to kind of walk this creek edge bank. I can see both sides, and I'll see if I can maybe spot something or see some nice crossings going across, and see if I can find some deer sign. I don't know how well it shows up, but this is one of those spots right here that I talked about last time I was on this property. I didn't want to go through them last time because I was dragging that deadhead around and that antler, but today I'm going in. I'm going to check this stuff out, see what's in there, see if there's any sign, any activity, maybe find something. I don't know, I'm not sure. It might be a lost cause too. I don't really see a good way to get through it. It's mostly downed trees and brush, but I'll find out. I'm just curious. I kind of want to see if anything's moving in there, if there's any trails. Probably won't be able to see much, but I'll check it out anyways. I have been kind of walking the edge of it again, kind of in a different spot than I was last time, but I don't know. I'll see how it looks. Well, I had to back out of that really thick stuff. I got in a little ways, and it was evident that there was not really any deer sign in there at all. It's just too thick and too many downed trees going across that you can't walk through it, or the deer can't move through it easily. I do think if they were really pressured, they'd probably head in there, but they'd kind of have to burrow their way in like a rabbit. I have though seen some rubs here. Here's another nice rub. This one looks kind of funny. It's peeled all the way down. Actually, this might be even 2 years ago. I'm not sure. But there are a few rubs here kind of on the edge. It's kind of how I've been skirting it as well, is staying on the edge of that thick stuff. Seems to be more deer sign there, but still pretty wet. There's a lot of water standing in here, and you know, it'll dry out some this summer, but it stays pretty wet year round. Makes it hard to navigate. But no antlers yet. I'm kind of bummed. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little disappointed. After last time, we found those so easily last time in a short amount of time. I figured today I was gonna make quite a haul, but not the case. I've gone all over the place and haven't really seen anything yet. So a little bit disappointing. I was hoping, since this will likely be the last shed hunt I do this year, I was kind of hoping to kind of go out with a bang and finish strong, but that doesn't look to be the case. Although my interests now are kind of moving on anyways. I'm getting into the turkeys and things, so that'll be a good way to kind of move into the next phase of hunting season and fishing season and food plots. I'm already thinking about next fall. Wow, that was crazy. I was just walking through here. I hope I got it on camera quick enough, but I looked over maybe 10-12 yards from me. I saw something shiny and I couldn't figure out what it was. I was like, what is that? So I tried to get the camera on quick to walk over here, and as I started to move a little bit, I could see it looked like a turkey. I thought, there's no way it's a turkey laying there like that. Its head was kind of funny. It looked like it was a decoy. I thought, well, maybe somebody's turkey hunting in here somewhere and they just stashed their decoy. And as soon as I started to move, I got the camera on, it popped up and took off, and it was a nice tom, pretty good beard. But he laid right here behind this brush, or just right here in this little impression, and just didn't move. He had his head kind of down, he was hiding from me. I would have walked right past had I not seen the sun shine off his back. That was really cool. I've never seen them do that. Usually they bust out way ahead of me. They hear me coming and they're gone. But yeah, that guy just hung tight, kind of like deer do sometimes. You'll notice that with deer. I've had them do that before, where you walk right up to them before they bust out. They just don't want to move. This guy was doing the same thing. I hope I was able to get that on, some of that on camera at least. You could watch him run off. It was a good looking bird. I'm gonna keep this in mind for turkey season. I know the other properties that I've got, some of those hill properties are really good in numbers of birds. Every time out there I usually see birds, and in the past when I've turkey hunted I've had good success there. But this morning, seeing those couple of gobblers strutting in the field and a bunch of hens, and then this guy right here, which may have been one of the ones from earlier, I don't know, makes me want to keep it in mind anyways. It could be a really good spot. But I'm getting back out to a trail now. I'm going to kind of work that back. I'll update you guys when I get back. Well guys, that's going to wrap it up for this shed hunt / scouting mission today. I'm a little disappointed I didn't find anything, but it was still good to get out and the weather was nice. And again, I learned something about the property, kind of walked some spots that I hadn't been to before, or at least in a long time, so that was good. This will probably wrap it up for my shed hunting for this season. I think I'm pretty much done. It's starting to thicken up. It will not, however, wrap up my videos. I'm going to keep on rolling, at least releasing as much content as I have been, if not more. I plan to keep on doing this. I enjoy it. But if you guys enjoyed this video, I hope you did. You know, if you feel like it, give me a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Take care. I'll catch you guys later.